Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Welcome back, everyone. This is my new Marvel She-Hulk video. There's been reports that it's going to feature a bunch of cameo scenes from other old and new Marvel characters, way more than you see in the trailer, like Abomination in the trailer's coming back, obviously, but there's way more surprise characters than that, and now there's reports that one of those new ones is going to be one of the Fantastic Four characters, so I'll explain what's going on. I will be doing videos for all the episodes when it starts in a couple weeks. We're almost there, and we have Comic-Con this week. There's going to be a huge Marvel Comic-Con panel this year. We're supposed to get the Black Panther 2 trailer, footage and previews from a bunch of other movies and Disney Plus series, like What If Season 2, the X-Men Revival series, Ant-Man 3, some more news about the upcoming Fantastic Four movie that they're working on. So be sure to subscribe to get all those videos. I'll do as many trailer videos and as many announcements and bonus videos as possible. It's going to be awesome. But the big news this past week is that there's going to be a big Fantastic Four cameo scene during the She-Hulk series. It's going to be 9 episodes long, and it's supposed to have a bunch of different cameos, not just the ones that you've seen in the trailer, like Tim Roth's Abomination obviously is coming back. He's a really big character, metaphorically and literally, but like Charlie Cox's Daredevil is also supposed to have cameo scenes. I don't know how many episodes he's going to be in, but I will talk about him more in a second. The big thing, reportedly, is that a version of The Thing is supposed to have a cameo scene in the series. But the reports don't say whether or not it would be a Ben Grimm cameo scene, like he'd be human form Ben Grimm, or a full-blown Thing cameo scene, like will he have already gotten his powers. And the reports don't say whether or not it's going to be the 616 main MCU version, or if it's another multiverse cameo scene, kind of like the Doctor Strange 2 Fantastic Four cameo scenes. There's been reports that we're going to learn more about the upcoming Fantastic Four movie at Comic-Con this year, even though it's not going to come out for a couple years. Even though everyone has been fan casting new Fantastic Four characters, we just saw John Krasinski as Reed Richards in the Doctor Strange 2 movie. That was the 838 version of the character, and he was killed by Scarlet Witch, so RIP 838 Reed Richards, and RIP Illuminati just in general. All these reports about the new Fantastic Four movie say they might cast completely different characters for all the 616 versions of the characters. They'd need a new version of Reed Richards no matter what, and I think we just assumed that they'd keep John Krasinski and say that it was a version of the team from another universe. But now it kind of sounds like there's going to be a legit 616 main MCU version of the team. I believe the early theory right now is that Ant-Man 3 will tease the team in a much bigger way. Early theory is that because we'd probably see the origin story during the new Solo movie down the road, it would be the human form version of Ben Grimm having a cameo scene, not like full-blown Thing having a cameo scene. The reports are also saying that it might be Jason Segel playing the character, which isn't someone I would have expected before this, but that's just a rumor, so you can let me know what you think about Jason Segel playing a version of the Thing.
Can we just talk about something? How amazing is Rush?
Excuse me, how amazing is Rush?
Amazing.
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 Remember, whoever they wind up casting as the character, when they do full-blown versions of the Thing in the new Fantastic Four movie, they would do it just like they do the special effects for the Hulk character, like some motion capture and some full CG combination. So it would be more like the voice of whoever this actor winds up being and his face plastered onto a massive CG character, as opposed to the classic version of the Thing that we saw in the old Fantastic Four movies that they mostly did as a practical effect.
I'll take the stairs.
So many stairs! No! Stairs!
So like a really good example for the way they do their powers would be Doctor Strange 2. They say that a lot of that movie was meant to be a test run just to see what a version of the Fantastic Four, at least Reed Richards' powers would look like, done in the traditional MCU movie style. Just a combination of practical effects with CG for their powers. The joke about Reed Richards being turned into spaghetti by Scarlet Witch is that it was actually Kevin Feige who came up with the idea to do that, not Sam Raimi, who said to kill him off in that way. Kevin Feige's like, let's turn him into spaghetti. That should look pretty cool. It was a pretty crazy way to go out. They wanted her to have pretty cool takedowns for some of the characters. Although my favorite Des, if we're talking about favorite Des on the Illuminati, would actually be Reed Richards' spaghetti and the scene of her getting Professor X while they were inside her mind. There's been all kinds of rumors about who they'll cast as the other versions of the 616 Fantastic Four characters, so I'll probably wait till they make some more announcements about that movie until I do another video. But I think it's a pretty easy assumption to make that we will see cameo scenes from the 616 Fantastic Four characters in other people's movies before the actual Solo movie starts. The other big news recently was the 616 MCU Doctor Doom, because he's a core Fantastic Four character. Obviously, he's related to a lot of this. I just did a Black Panther 2 Doctor Doom video because he's supposed to be important for the plot of that movie. So I will post a link for that video at the end of this and down in the description below so you can learn all about how they get into Doctor Doom through the Black Panther 2 movie. It's a very Marvel kind of thing where you tease people behind the scenes pulling strings and then reveal them later on. A very Thanos type of reveal for MCU Doctor Doom. Speaking of big secret reveals in The Thing, they were actually supposed to have a version of the Fantastic Four crossing over in Deadpool 2 way back when they were still making that movie at Fox. This is way before the Disney deal ever went down when they were trying to figure out what that movie was going to be. They wound up replacing that with the X-Force plot, but originally what was going to happen is because they had just rebooted the Fantastic Four movie, they were going to bring a version of The Thing into the movie and we're going to see Deadpool with The Thing. They'd workshopped some versions of the scenes, but what wound up happening is that Tim Miller wound up leaving the project and Ryan Reynolds basically took over the movie, and he's the person that was responsible for all the X-Force stuff. Once upon a time when Fox still had the rights, they were also planning on doing their own Captain America Civil War type of movie where they sort of cross over all the X-Men characters with all the Fantastic Four characters, but it was going to be a version of Johnny Storm that kind of set things off. It was going to be a very different type of Captain America Civil War type of plot. But it was the same basic concept. It was going to be their big in-universe crossover before Marvel got the rights back. I did a video a while ago too about Marvel's current plans for Charlie Cox's Daredevil and Kingpin inside the MCU because they're sort of the tip of the iceberg. Like they came back during Spider-Man No Way Home and Hawkeye, and they're the tip of the iceberg for them sort of re-canonizing or canonizing most of the Marvel Netflix stuff. Most of those actors coming back in some form in the future in the MCU. Not everybody, but most of them. Right now the plan just starts with some of the Daredevil characters. In the next couple of years, mostly having them show up in other people's Disney Plus series, like Daredevil is supposed to be part of the She-Hulk series, Jessica Jones, Kristen Ritter rumored to come back during that too. Daredevil, Kingpin, and some of the other Daredevil Netflix characters are supposed to come back again during the Echo series, and that's supposed to feel kind of like a Daredevil Season 4, unofficially. In longer term, like a couple years down the road, the scuttlebutt is, I've mentioned before, Marvel doing a full-blown Daredevil Disney Plus series revival, with most of the characters coming back. Like everybody gets new costumes, like Daredevil will get a new Daredevil costume when he shows up as Daredevil in the MCU, like we saw him as Matt Murdock during Spider-Man No Way Home. The next time he shows up, we'll probably see him as Daredevil with a new Daredevil costume. But all these characters will still have the same vibe as they did during the Netflix episodes. Vincent D'Onofrio even said during all his interviews on the Hawkeye series he was playing the same version of Kingpin from the Daredevil Netflix series. He had the exact same cufflinks. He was even wearing the same black suit in one of those deleted scenes.
When you talk about organized crime in the Marvel Universe and you talk about the seedy underbelly of New York City, there is one primary character that comes to mind.
He said, I want to bring you into the MCU, and I'm not going to say no to that. Like, that's pretty awesome.
But when they bring some of these characters back, like Kingpin for example, they did this special featurette on Disney Plus that you've probably seen. The Marvel producers said that they wanted to do a slightly different version of Kingpin, like they wanted to do a more heavy-set version, but they kind of changed their minds about that. So they wanted to tune some of the creative behind his character, but essentially, he's the same version from the Daredevil Netflix episodes. It'll be the same thing with all the other Marvel Netflix characters. Pretty much the same versions of the characters, with just slight creative retunings like different costumes, and it's not like they're going to come back referencing every single thing that they ever did in all those episodes. Even though Comic-Con is this week, I'm not expecting to get a brand new She-Hulk trailer until maybe next week or the week after, but they will start dropping more trailers soon. But I think what they'll probably do is take the typical Marvel approach where they don't put all the really cool stuff in the trailers, like they won't put Charlie Cox's Daredevil in the trailer if he's going to cameo during the series. Reportedly during the series, he's going to be both Matt Murdock and we'll see him in a Daredevil costume doing vigilante stuff, but it'll be a new MCU version of the costume. I did a separate Daredevil video a little while ago too about the other new costume that he's supposed to get during the Echo series because he's going to be a big character during that, and then later during his Daredevil Revival series, another new black costume, like the brand new, all different type of costume. So the biggest question a lot of you have been asking me now the past few days is, does this mean that all the Netflix shows and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are now totally canon 100% to the MCU? Like, are they bringing everybody back inside the MCU now? And the answer is no, not totally. Like, they don't have big plans to bring back Iron Fist anytime soon. Mike Colter said that there are currently no plans to bring back his version of Luke Cage right now. Yes, Coulson did come back in the Captain Marvel movie, but that was because it took place in the 90s when he was younger and still alive in the MCU, before he'd been killed by Loki during the Avengers movie. I'll be posting Marvel Comic-Con videos all week long, so make sure you have alerts enabled for my channel. While you wait for everything, click here for that brand new Black Panther 2 Doctor Doom video, and click here for my brand new Mandalorian Season 3 trailer video and Easter eggs. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.